Welcome back to Frontline Eurosports Online. Your host Nate Jennings is here with Mr. Snyder, who's going to be taking the very first 2019 Triumph Tiger 1200 XCA, my personal favorite, the matte marine. Yes. So congratulations, my man.
Right.
Yes, you wanted the baddest, you wanted the best. You asked for all the accessories. I said we need to go to the A that has all the goodies for this 2019 Tiger 1200. So we'll walk around the bike and go over this machine in its entirety. We want to keep an eye on our tire pressure, which is very important. We're sitting on 19-inch front wheel, and it is a spoked system, but is tubeless. So they have it interconnecting in here instead of having the spoke nipple go all the way into the actual hoop. That eliminates you having to worry about carrying a tube everywhere you go. Now we have a nice valve stem in here that we can reach easily and check our tire pressure. We want to keep a normal 36-42 tire pressure in there until we start doing some of that creeping around off the farm and finding some dirt opportunities. We'll lower our tire pressures appropriately, depending on what tire you have, obviously. So with this bad boy, we have our WP hydraulic dampening suspension, our Brembo brakes that are radially mounted. So we have top-of-the-line goodies all the way around on this bad boy. Our suspension is electronic. It's actually called the TS8S, Triumph Semi-Active Suspension, and that gives you the automatic setting for preload. So when you sit on this motorcycle, it's going to say, that's where we need to be, and it'll automatically set our preload. Then we can go in and modulate in the instrumentation. I'll get there last, but we can change our damping values for ourselves as well. We have also behind this forks these steel braided brake lines that lead from our master cylinder down to our Brembo brake caliper. That's going to give us an awesome effective feel that's a less fatiguing feel than rubber hoses that expand. There's less preventative maintenance due for steel braided brake lines, and it's just a very nice upgrade that the Europeans do for us here in the Ducati, Triumph, and BMW world. Then we get to the bread and butter of what really makes the Triumph the exciting motorcycle you're about to find out. The inline 3-cylinder 1200. So this new 18 and 19 models, they rev faster, they have more internal component changes from the previous model, and we are going to have new electrical modes. But it's simple, water cooled with an auxiliary fan that'll kick on once you exceed 220, 224 temperatures. You'll feel that fan kick on. Our inline 3-cylinder with that stacked transmission to keep a very compact power plant all together. That's going to have simple serviceabilities. We have our oil fill located right here. Your oil sight glass located down here at the bottom. When you look further, you can see that we have our spin-on filter down on the side there. I can't see it from this side, but we'll get a better shot here in a minute. And obviously our drain on the bottom. So simple one-piece engine transmission. Unlike the Harley that we own, we can dump all the chemicals at one time, cap them back off and refill it, and be a very quick and easy transition for us. We are fuel injected, so you'll have a bank of fuel injection modules underneath there hidden away for you as well. And we are shaft drive. So we'll get to the left side of the bike here in a minute to show you the shaft drive. We have a 6-speed transmission. That's just a warning tag for recommendation of castor oils that we can take off for you, Mr. Snyder.
We're not going to need that.
We know our oils. Make sure we get all the O-rings back in place there. Slip that puppy back down into its home. So we got our shift pedal, our brake pedal, I apologize. Our brake pedal over here is very gnarly and ready to work for us. I'm wearing our off-road boots and doing that aggressive locking up the rear and turning it with the rear as we steer. That is going to a brake master cylinder located right here. That's going to give our power to our ABS module and divert it back to the rear wheel. As you saw in the front, all the rear lines are still braided as well, Mr. Snyder. So then we've got a rod right here behind that. That is our ride height adjustment. That's working for what weight is on the motorcycle for our suspension. And then we can see our single monoshock in the back. I'm going to now expose the good, beautiful stuff we get. An awesome single-sided swing arm. So the single-sided swing arm allows for real quick removal of the tire. Keeps a nice open and easy system to work with. It's going to put us in a position where we can pull those nuts off and pull the wheel off without removing our brake rotors and calipers, and we don't have to worry about pulling any chains or anything off because we're shaft driven on this machine. So just pull it out, and it's a lot more exposed so that we can play with the cleanliness of our spoked rims that we have to work with now. We have the aero muffler. The aero muffler is one of the biggest attributes that help us drop 26 pounds off from the 2017 to the 2018-19 models. And it's going to give it a more visceral tone. It's going to have lighter weight, so better power to weight ratios, and the sound is awesome. Everybody's going to know you're coming.
Cool.
You can hear the distinctive tone of a 3-cylinder. As we move to the back of this machine, which honestly I could probably do something super cool for us. We got our setup with the LED brake lamp assembly, clear turn signals with amber bulbs, so we're 50 state compliant on this bad boy. Give you a little back shot of the motorcycle. And that's why we love center stands. So now we can just transition around and find an easy way to work with the poor man's one camera situation, right? So we've got ourselves on the left side of the motorcycle. That's going to give us our exposure to the pillion heated seat access for low and high over here. We are going to have the switch cube on the handlebars for the pilot and the heated grips up there. We'll get to that in a second. We're going to see that shaft drive assembly, which is a hinged element that you can see here with a torsion bar up top side. Have you ever had a shaft drive bike before? It's going to be the first one. It's good to transition into this one because you won't get a bad taste in your mouth. You know, it's going to be very athletic and sport feeling. It's not like an old direct that would lift you up and hike you away from the motorcycle under load. So that's going to be a nice new feature that's going to be a very maintenance-free thing for you. We can pull the pillion pegs off and remove these completely if we wanted that more cleansly look to it. It is a one-piece engine transmission as well as a one-piece frame and subframe. We're going to have adventure foot pegs on the A model, so you get these way more aggressive pegs that are going to really bite down great for you. Our side stand with a side stand safety switch, so this bike will cut off if you try to start it and then pop it into first or second gear with the side stand down. So, nice little safety feature for ourselves. Our 6-speed transmission, 1 down, 5 up. Now what's the trick about this particular one is that it gives you clutchless upshifting and clutchless downshifting. So this little module that we see in here gives us clutchless upshifting and clutchless downshifting. Still, clutch lever is there. You still use it. You can still operate it like a normal motorcycle. But if you elect to, which you will, definitely after you start using it, throttle it up, through the gears. And with the Triumph, you can pretty much downshift it anywhere you want in the RPMs. You don't have to have a completely zeroed out throttle, which I like that. I like keeping a little throttle maintenance open and pop my downshift in there. Moving forward a little bit further, we're going to have our coolant overflow, which if you shake the bike, you can see the level right there. You can actually see the fluid moving in there. And our engine protection that comes factory with the XCA models. Good day, sir. And our aluminum sump guard down there for extra added protection on the XCA model. So now we've got just a little bit more stuff to talk about, like the wind protection, where our electronically adjustable windscreen. We'll show you how that works in the instrumentation once we have the bike on. Additional slip streamers for excellent wind protection. You have auxiliary lights hidden down front here so that we can give ourselves the best lighting that we possibly can. And I know you want to get to the fun part, which is our switch cubes and what they're going to do for us. So I'm going to reposition the camera one more time for us. I like being able to do this. Put the camera down to see the switch cubes and instrumentation and roll from there. So now we get into instrumentation and controls. I had your key out here just to hold it. There's something I got to show you about this key though. I can really screw you up. If I tap that Triumph symbol in the center, you see that green light coming on. If I hold it, a red light comes on. And you saw how I charged the bike earlier by pushing that button. This will not work if the key fob is turned off. If I turn it back on though, instrumentation cues up. So on the right handlebar, we're going to have an adjustable front lever with our hydraulic brake system. We have ride-by-wire. This is a rheostat, no more push and pull cables, giving us very correct information. Top side, we have a lock button to lock the motorcycle down. For steering column, you heard that trying to work. We have our hazard lights. Well, I turned the bike off doing that too. There you go. Hazard lights and our home button. Our home button, once you cue back up here, allows us to go into our riding modes and to our bike setup, trip setup, display setup, and restore defaults. To manipulate this, we have our left control switch cube over here, and this is called the joystick. The joystick, if there's an arrow, we can go there. So if you tap that joystick over for me, So we went down one accidentally, but that's okay. It's all good. We went into bike setup. So this is how we're going to set up things like TSAS, Triumph Semi-Active Suspension, TSA, Triumph Shift Assist, your hill hold, your indicators, turning them automatic or manual, ABS, traction control, service lights. We can go into riding modes. The rider mode itself, ride door mode, gives you the option to manipulate this however you want it. So we could go in there and say, I want my ABS off-road or off-road. I want my mapping to be rain, road, or sport or off-road. I want my traction control to be off rain, road, sport, or off-road. I can change my suspension. I can change my screen style. You can play with that one all you want. You get into some of the other ones like road, ABS, you got road ABS. Mapping, you've got road, rain, or sport. Traction control, rain, road, sport. You see how you're a little bit more limited on some of the options. But that's all of our riding modes. Now, take me into trip setup, sir, with the over the joystick. Now we've got trip setup 1, trip setup 2, and now you know how to get back with just pulling it back. Down 1 to display setup. Display setup takes us to our theme, which you're like, what the hell? This bike has its own theme? It does, and I'm going to show you how to go through the themes and what those themes are going to do for you. So right now, go down to style 1 and hit that. So hit the arrow button in. There you go. There you go. You check it with this. Boop, boop. So just a little push into that button. Now we've selected theme 1. We'll go back and see what that does for us later. We've got our brightness, we've got our visible tray, we've got language, unit, clock, date, and more. Now the main one I want to show is our visible tray. So take me down the visible tray, Mr. Snyder. So yeah, you always want to hit the turn signals for a little while. This is what we're going to have in that scrolling tray that I'm about to show you in a second. So we have trip 1, trip 2. People like to have 2 trips. Your fuel status, pretty important. Service intervals, maybe not so much. I might want to take that one off. Contrast, style, and coolant. You can go in there and manipulate this at any point in time. But we're going to leave it kind of stock right now. So if you hit back one more time, or at any time you wanted to, hit the home button, it takes you back to your main display. So now our display might look a little different than last time. We'll start with our tachometer, gear indicator, our speedometer, fuel meters, and we'll have different things coming on for us. Once I turn the actual switch on here, you can see it better. Road mode, timepiece, temperature, fuel, speed, gear, tach, and we have our trip 1. You can see arrows up and down, left and right. Let's go up. So now it's trip 2. I have trip 2 information. Now I've seen everything in that board, so I can go left or right with the joystick. We're in our fuel. Fuel has more options up and down. Right now, 9.8 miles per gallon, instantaneous is not showing, and range on tank is showing. So we'll go up, or go back one time. There you go. Now go over to, we'll do it one time. Boom, boom, up here. So that was the service I was telling you about. So it gives you 498 miles. You need to come back for your first service. Now we can go over again. That way. We have auto contrast and high contrast. And that's just changing. If the ambient light is very bright, it's going to go to the appropriate screen for that. So check it out though. Hit up the high contrast there. Now check it. Go up one time. And then check. There you go. And there's your high contrast. It takes a minute to get used to that joystick. And honestly, the biggest thing is going to be getting used to not hitting the turn signals. Because that'll happen. Guarantee you. I still do it. So we're going to now slide over from high contrast over to the right one more time with the joystick. Because the joystick pretty much does almost everything for this bike. It's amazing how it does almost everything but cruise and mode and heated elements. So we have style 1 displayed right now. Scroll down. Style 2, enter. Bam. Now we got a new view. So it's pretty trick how you can change it to what you like. I don't need but a gear indicator, a big tachometer, and smaller speedometer. There's a style 3 below that as well, good sir. And now we change things to even more cylindrical. There's one that I like a lot, which I'm going to get you to do for me now. So we got our style 1, theme 1. If you got me into the home button, can you change that to theme 2? Do you remember how? See how quick you pick this stuff up? Boom, just click theme 2, click theme 1, and then we can hit the home button. That'll take us back out, and we'll see what we did. So now we have a completely different lookup with gear indicator, speed, fuel, and tachometer is a bar across here on 1. Style 2 is pretty trick because it's going to change your tachometer quite a bit and be a dual tachometer, giving you a high level of visibility on that and a really big fuel bar. still giving you quick access to your gear indicator. And in 3, a lot of people like that one because it's just, hey, quick reference information, it's right here, easy to read. Speedometer, tachometer, gear indicator, fuel, and then I have all of my information through the visible tray as well. So now we got one more thing to do over to the right with the joystick. So if you hit me to the right on the joystick, we'll get out of style, we're gonna go to temperature, and one more flip gives us to our screen adjustment. So now we can go up or down. The luxuries of life. You live at the top of the world now with electronically adjustable windscreen. Slip me over one more time because I don't think we've done the suspension yet. No, we haven't. So we've got our suspension, and we can do that up and down arrows and change our damping values while we're riding the motorcycle. I just got on the interstate and I just want to float. I'm going to sit this sucker down in the comfort mode, but dang, I'm getting off and I see this beautiful mountain range. It's stiffen it up, and you can play with this while you're riding the motorcycle. So on the left switch cube, we've gone over the joystick, but haven't really hit things like horn, turn signal, pretty self-explanatory. Mode selection. Mode selection, if we tap that, we'll bring up our mode. Right now we're in a straight road mode. We'll go over to a sport mode. We'll go over to off-road and off-road pro, which now eliminates ABS and traction control. That's our rider mode that allowed us to manipulate it in rain mode. So we went through rider, rain, road, sport, off-road, and off-road pro. 6 different riding modes that we can play with on this beast. And some of it, just make sure you have the appropriate tires on for the appropriate situation that you're in. Haven't done the cruise control, but this cruise control is pretty simple, and it's actually gives a visual reference to where you were, so you know what you're going to go back to if you hit resume really quick. So we just hit the set button, brings your clock up, you know it's going to set it where you want it. We can increase and we can decrease the speed intermittently. We can also just use it as resume. To kill it, clutch, brakes, throttles, all that happy jazz will kill your cruise control because it's all electronic now. This is what impressed me a ton when the first T120 came out. That is your heated grip element that is embedded into the grip itself, which is going to give you a visual reference up here where we're at. You got a tap on that beast one more time for me, good sir. We've got high, medium, low, and off. Now, we also have the pillion that we can turn on low and high back on the back. And then you have the pilot. So if we tap that booger right there, that's your heated seat for the pilot on nuclear level, low and off. We did have an XCA. The XCA is a fully equipped model, so we got the LED headlights up front. That would be our switch right up top side here. Auxiliary lighting, and then that trigger switch you were hitting, that is our high beam, as you can see. Bada boom, bada boom. So we still have a little bit of adjustability left on this motorcycle, which would be the clutch lever. So the brake lever is adjustable, clutch lever is adjustable, windscreen is adjustable, saddle height is adjustable, and we haven't even gone into the seat and done any of that yet. That's pretty straightforward. Take the seat out, change a little rod height on the front, on the rear, replace it. We'll probably start in low and be in a more comfortable position there. Auxiliary socket here, so if we wanted to add a navigation, if we wanted to have power to heated equipment that we wanted on our body or something to that nature, you've got accessibility for that right there. So I think we should let people hear your brand new 2019
I want to ride
1200. Let's make it happen, man. Cool, cool. Push it outside and get it started. All right, we're gonna give this thing a little start. Mr. Snyder's ready to ride. So with our run cycle, we've got our key in our pocket. So check this out right here now. You can see while you walked away that your key proximity alarm came out of range, and it's gonna give you a warning. Hey, you just left your key fob on the top of a fuel tank somewhere. You better go back and get it. To start the Triumph motorcycle, remember we talked about having the clutch pulled in as a mandation even though we're in neutral. And we have just a slip of the button down right there for the run cycle button. We'll be able to hear what the arrow sounds like. I'll hold your helmet for you. There we go. And it's even the sound of the engine is completely different. Now you're ready to ride. You just need a helmet, a high five,
Yep.
and time to ride. So thanks for watching us here at Frontline Eurosports Online. Mr. Snyder taking ownership of his brand new 2019 Tiger 1200 XCA in Matte Marine. Have a good day.
First one.
Number one. First one.